The Monaco E-Prix was an absolute masterclass, directed by Jeff Dodds himself. What a way to finish in Monaco for the Gen 3 era. Obviously completely dry races and two outstandingly masterclass. Different results, all action all the way around. Obviously a lot of carbon fibre in that second race, big shunts in the first race, big results in both races. And that's what I want to unpack on this episode of Formula E Unscripted. Hello everybody and welcome to this episode of Formula E Unscripted. We've got a lot to break down for the winners and losers of the Monaco Masterclass. Firstly, we did have some celebrities from the Formula 1 paddock come and see the first race. I imagine they were sort of dotted around the second as well. It is in their back garden, but the likes of Christian Horner, Carlos Sainz, Daniel Kvyat, and even Bortoleto came down to support Drogovic. It was really nice to see, actually, because it made the sport feel, you know, where Formula 1 is, with a lot of the celebs showing up in those races, and Monaco being quite a popular one. It made the sport feel a bit more on the same level than more an under tier, because that's where we want to get with Formula E. Not take over F1, but to be on the same level, which I think with this Monaco result and the races, it is Monaco, the festival of overtaking, really, for Formula E, and it's one of those things I'm so glad we got this street circuit on our calendar because, man, we didn't have two races the same. We're going to go through the winners, and there's a lot of winners, especially Nissan, and that's why I put this shirt on, because I was impressed by the beast from Barnsley, but we'll get into that. So let's start with some of the winners. Who are the winners of the Monaco weekend? Well, firstly, we're going to talk about Jaguar TCS Racing. I think they've had some really good results here. They've had some hiccups as well, but I think with the way that their battle with Porsche's gone this weekend, I'm going to say it's a big win. But for race 1 and 2, Mitch Evans. Man, this man is on a charge to get this season before he leaves Jaguar TCS Racing. And he is, yeah, exactly what we expect from Mitch Evans. I really hope that this run of form continues, not only as a Jag fan, but just for Mitch, man. He really wants it. You can see it in his interviews. He's calm about it, but he is being chased by Oliver Rowland. And I did say in my pre-show this weekend, don't write it off. I think Oliver Rowland could lead the championship by the end. He isn't, but he's definitely on a charge. The beast from Barnsley, as we call him on the show. He's coming, isn't he? He's back on. From last season, he had obviously a great run of form at the start and then a terrible end. I think he's flipped it round this season and we're going to start seeing him pop up everywhere for the rest of the season. Let's hope. But back on Jaguar, I do want to mention Da Costa. He had a great race too. I think he had a great race 1 as well. Race 1, Da Costa had great performance all the way through until he had his coming togethers with Dan Ticktum. I think it's a really interesting racing incident, and we did a video about was the penalty deserved or not, because it is quite an interesting one. But it did mean that Da Costa DNF'd. But coming back today, he got into the duels. He then put it on the second row and, yeah, looked great for position, and then was taken out again in a similar position as well. This time by Mortara, spun him round into P17. But he converted that P17 onto the podium, and that's why we gave him driver of the day, because that was fantastic to do in the non-pit boost race, where really we had no safety cars, we have nothing to throw a curveball in, because again it's pack racing, which I think the drivers today showed that Formula E can be good even at some pace. So yeah, that's kind of the Jaguar stint over. Obviously winners, we had Nick De Vries. Nick De Vries back on the podium and also being a race winner first time for Mahindra was really nice to see. Obviously, it's one of those fluke where we kind of knew that wasn't going to be converted on the second day, but it is good to see him back. Rookies. Oh my goodness, the rookies this weekend really have capitalised on some of the points. I've noticed they've got their own little championship going on between the three of them, and it's quite interesting to watch. But Marty on the podium, well deserved. I also want to mention Drogovic for race 1 and 2. Brilliant performances. Honestly, like really good to see. Has brought Andretti back into a bit more of a title fight in the midfield. Degrassi, race 1 and 2. This is massive for him. I was excited yesterday because he got some points on the board. But to score again makes me think that my bingo card that I've written with Lola getting over 10 points might be possible. They've scored 6 now and there's still a good 7 rounds to go. So I think Degrassi was kind of in 13th, 14th for most of the races. And then obviously with penalties and all that, it's kind of jigged him up. But you put yourself in the right place and I think that is awesome. So yeah, that's kind of the winners. There's loads more we can talk about, but I've tried to condense down over the 2 races who I think has actually been a big winner from this weekend. We'll look at the tables and there may be some more hidden in there. I think an honourable mention would be Muller. He did really well in the second race, putting himself into the points from outside. I thought it was a really good we'll give him the graphic then. Nico Muller for just a really good strategy in that second race. So now we come to the losers, and I think there wasn't as many losers as winners, and I think the losers that we've got are big losers this weekend. I'm going to start with the obvious one, Dan Ticktum. Yes, he got on pole twice, but he couldn't have a clean race or something not go right for him to allow him to even score points within the races. He actually scored 6 points with the 2 pole positions, but he was in a very good position to grab a bag of them at least. Obviously, I know that they were talking about the Kiro having a bit of a power cycling problem. It was over-consuming, I think. I don't think they could keep up with the pace of the race with what they were doing, but Marty put it on the podium, so it's kind of showing that there was an opportunity. It will be interesting to watch these races back from a Kiro perspective to see if they're, apart from Dan's, under the safety car penalty and then obviously Da Costa's crash, which I actually still don't believe he deserved the drive-through, maybe 5 seconds, but it's one of those. I think it's really unfortunate. Season 12 is just not Dan's year. Barnard in race 2, he also today, oh my god, that was not a Taylor Barnard performance really. Obviously he crashed into the barrier on himself, he took out Norman Nato. He did so much wrong in race 2 and I feel disappointed when he looked really strong going into qualifying for race 2. So it's a shame to see DS Penske take a hit with Barnard. I mean, Gunther had a couple of penalties. Another team to mention is Citroën. Like, they looked strong. Like, Monaco really is like rolling the dice. And I think they were kind of unfortunate, but there was some incidents as well that I just think, yeah, it's not been Citroën's best weekend, has it? So it has probably affected them majorly in the tournament. Going back to teams as well, actually, I want to say Kiro's quite a loser, actually. Again, obviously Marty's podium, great, and I know we've just talked about this, but again, they're no longer in a fight with Andretti for the championship. Andretti have really stepped up and moved away in the points, so that's, I guess, another loss. But the biggest losers, the ones that needed some points, and I know commentary was saying they're cursed, but Porsche. This isn't the weekend that they would have wanted. And I think they've been dreading it, haven't they? The commentary team was saying that Porsche don't really have a good weekend here. They're kind of cursed, and I believe that carried on. I would say the biggest loser out of everyone we've mentioned today is Pascal Wehrlein, because he scored no points. And he is, in the chance of winning the championship this season. He's looked the strongest. We've been calling him a computer because he's been calculated in every race. But Monaco, there's definitely a virus in the system for Porsche because he did not dominate like we expect. And that is one of the shocks that I wasn't expecting. Obviously, there's the form, but that was one thing I think really has let Porsche down in both championships. So let's have a look at those tables because I do think it's got rather interesting. We now have Mitch Evans leading the championship on 128 points, followed by the beast from Barnsley himself, Oliver Rowland, on 109 points. We've got Mortara, who seems to really like third in the drivers, on 103, Pascal Wehrlein on 101, Muller on 81, and Da Costa, welcome back to the top 6, on 80. And I do want to mention for Da Costa, had he not had the crash, he probably would be sniffing distance from Pascal Wehrlein. How does it look in the drivers' constructors? Well, we've got Jaguar on 208, followed by Porsche on 182. Mahindra had a great weekend for 144. Nissan on 120. Andretti on 106 points. And Envision just under 100 points with 97. And I think Envision had quite a consistent weekend again. They always seem to get an 8th or a 9th or a 6th in there, and they seem to always be scoring. So it is interesting. I think this season was on Gas Mark 5. It's now on Gas Mark 7, and we really are boiling going into all the rest of the rounds, but especially come London, we're going to have probably the perfectly cooked season we could ask for. So yeah, that's Formula E over for basically a whole month, because we've got to wait now to the Sanya E-Prix, which I'm really excited for, returning from obviously the Gen 2 era. It's quite a unique track, and that's saying something for Formula E, isn't it? So yeah, it's obviously quite a while till then. We do have the Monaco F1 race. We get to hand it now, the baton over to F1 to see how they do in terms of power management around Monaco. Obviously they do it over a lap, what we do over a race, but I really hope that from this point onwards we just get so much more chaos for Monaco come Gen 4. So yeah, I'm really excited to see where this season goes. Obviously great one on Nissan, and I guess a shout out to Primark. This shirt was part of their new range, and I think it's really cool that you can get Formula E merch on the high street as well. And it's great just to I did a try on haul. Honestly, go watch the enthusiasm from that video. It shouldn't have been as good as it was, but I really enjoyed making that video. So I guess to finish kind of for a month, which is really weird. Obviously, my name is Carl. We run me and Corey run the Current Lap YouTube channel. We do pre-shows, predictions, and unscripted to wrap up the weekend. It's been really good so far through the Formula E season, and I just can't wait to see what we do as we go over to the Asia region before we finish in London. So I guess if you're new around here, please like and subscribe, and remember, this is the Current Lap.